This is one of the big stories of the day. We take you back to Cape Town, where the Western Cape High Court's been hearing this urgent application from the DA and the EFF to interdict the pending VAT increase. Both parties are also seeking similar relief to have the court declare Parliament's passing of the fiscal framework invalid and unconstitutional. Vaylen Kirtley attended on the first day and joins us now. Vaylen, the nation's been captivated by the story ever since the attempt, of course, the initial attempt to have this budget delivered. Then it was take two, and then this, of course, has become the marquee issue now. So how do things proceed in court today?
Thank you very much, Iman. And of course, those two parties that have been leading this charge, being the DA and the EFF. It was decided by the Western Cape Judge President that she will hand down her judgment after, or before and by the 29th of April. This is an urgent matter because by the 1st of May, we're going to be having a VAT increase, and our banks have already sent out the notice that we must be aware of the 0.5% VAT increase that is going to apply. The DA made the final argument that, in fact, even if the VAT increase is halted and there is time to properly ventilate the issues and look at the other recommendations, that it wouldn't be pushing the country into a fiscal tightrope or into a fiscal knot, because it would just be 0.01%. But to speak a little bit more about their immediate reaction to some of the arguments that we heard in court today is the DA national spokesperson, Karabo Khachau. Thanks for chatting to Newzroom Afrika once again. Would you say that today was a victory on the DA's behalf?
Certainly it was. The arguments that were presented by our counsel here in court are in alignment with what it is that we have promised South Africans to be arguing about. So we made it very clear that we are challenging the constitutionality of Section 7.4 of the VAT Act and the how it affects South Africans, the implications there is. It's been a long day. We've been sitting in court. Even the English bundles are depleting. But yes, the implications thereof on South Africans. So what is important here for South Africans to know is that we have a case study that we are of the belief that the Constitutional Court has already ruled in favor of, that strengthens our case. You would know that in the past, when you looked at the case of the Northwest, for example, the case there against the MEC then in the Northwest, as well as the Gambling Authority there, that when a decision was taken on delegating power to the MEC to call for a VAT increase or a revenue collection increase, that there was a court case that was heard that ruled that it cannot be the case, because the executive authority of this country does not have the constitutional authority or the freedom to tax South Africans for revenue collection. So it's very important for South Africans to understand the distinction here. So an executive authority can tax South Africans to regulate behavior, but it is only the legislative arm of state, which is Parliament in the national sense, which is the provincial legislatures on a provincial level, and which is municipal council on a local level, that have the power to tax South Africans for revenue collection. In the case of VAT today, the case here is that Minister Godongwana and the ANC want to tax South Africans for revenue collection. And we've obviously argued in favor to show why that is a problem, because constitutionally that the House that of the three arms of state, between the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative arm of state, of those houses, the one that has the authority to tax South Africans or to impose tax for revenue collection, that is Parliament. So that is the one part as far as the constitutional mandate is concerned. But as far as process is concerned, the question is still begged. Was there a question put before the select committee to adopt a fiscal framework? And the answer is no. The process that was followed by the select committee, the joint committee of finances of both houses, the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces, was flawed. It did not meet the master of the process there, and that's what we are arguing. So we are very confident as the Democratic Alliance that come the deadline, the 29th of May, that we will find a victory for South Africans, that we would be able to avert and cushion them from a VAT hike.
Well, Carisha Pillay, who was the senior counsel representing Parliament, did actually make the point that the question was very clear, and often you have a lot of politicking and what can come across as quite a bit of chaos when it comes to decisions. So it'll be interesting to see how the three judges that were presiding over the matter actually interpret that as to whether or not there was really a question that was posed and whether there was confusion by Parliament when they were actually taking on board this report. But some people say that it's an interesting bedfellow that you have found in this case in the EFF.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I mean, we never imagined, but we are happy to have a fellow here. We thought we were going to be the only people who have the sobriety to defend South Africans against the mess that we currently have. And we're happy to have people who are also sensible enough to want to fight with us. Whether or not their arguments hold more water than ours, that is yet to be seen. But as a matter of principle, the Democratic Alliance from the onset has made it clear that taxing South Africans is not a solution. What the ANC and Treasury needs to do is to reconfigure its expenditure in a way that is able to get us service delivery without punishing South Africans. South Africans in the last 31 years were supposed to see an economic surge. They were supposed to see right now us being in a position where majority of our population is employed. That is not the case. South Africans this time around deserved a fiscal framework that was going to put us in an economic growth trajectory where people are able to have job opportunities available for them, where we're able to alleviate poverty. We did not see that altogether. And so we've stopped the 2% VAT hike, and now with 0.5, we're here in court, and we're making a promise to South Africans again that we are not tired. We'll continue to dollar what we must to rescue South Africans from the clutches of an ANC that is ungovernable to the extent of being inconsiderate and cruel to the extent of wanting to tax South Africans. South Africans who only want to be able to enter a grocery store with confidence and not have to pick and choose what to put on the table for food.
Karabo Khao is the national spokesperson for the DA. Thank you so much for your time on Newzroom Afrika. So, Iman, we are waiting for the 29th of April, but there was robust discussions that were had between the three judges that presided over the matter, as well as the senior counsels that put forward their arguments, as well as defended their certain respondents, being Parliament, as well as the Finance Minister. So we're expecting to have an answer before the 29th of April.